It is 6 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. NBA Finals are set to tip off tonight in Boston. The Celtics will be taking on the Dallas Mavericks. 5:30 tip time on ABC. Kristaps Porzingis' injury update still in the air, but might give it a go in Game 1. But that is not the big news in the NBA. Shockingly surprise twist as the Los Angeles Lakers, according to Woj of ESPN, are now pursuing heavily UConn coach Dan Hurley. Nothing is official yet, but the Lakers are expected to offer a massive, massive contract. Coming up in hour number 2, friend of the program, one of our favorites, Josh Pate from Late Kick Live is going to join us to talk some college football. But, boy, there's a lot of layers to this onion. If, in fact, Dan Hurley is going to be the next coach of the Lakers, what does this mean for LeBron? What does this mean for Bronny? What does this mean for UConn? What does this mean for college basketball? We hit every corner. Next, 620, Rip City Radio. And a very happy Thursday. It is RCM. I am your host, Justin Myers, super producer Brenden, safely partitioned on the other side of the glass. Thanks for getting up early with us or staying up late, however you are rolling on this particular Thursday. I'm very excited to have breaking news at the beginning of the show and not at the end of the show. Got to appreciate when the breaking news universe smiles upon morning radio here on the West Coast, because they don't always like to do that. Like many of you woke up to, very rarely do I throw out shocking news, right? One of my favorite things to do, and you guys don't know this because you are not privy to our pre-show meeting, is Brenden will come in, and he's got a lot of very good ideas, and he's like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. And I go, young Brenden, let me tell you about 1994. And then he rolls his eyes and goes like, all right, old man. This one was shocking. This one surprised the daylights out of me. Like, on my Laker coach bingo card, as soon as they fired Darvin Ham, JJ Redick, okay, not exactly. It would have been maybe a deep corner of the bingo card, but it would still be on it, right? And then probably usual suspects of potential coaches out there. Back-to-back national championship coach in college basketball, Dan Hurley, who seems to have ascended to the level of, with Krzyzewski's retirement a couple years ago, Jay Wright's retirement a couple of years ago, there is no coach on his level in the college basketball. Calipari has fallen off. Izzo has fallen off, other than maybe Tommy Lloyd at Air. Like, who, Brenden, outside of Dan Hurley, who's the best coach in all of college basketball now?
Gotta give, I don't think he's the best, but another guy to throw in there is, I always get him confused. Which Drew is at Baylor? I really like him a lot. Scott
Drew at Baylor is a very good pull. Yes, yes.
I like him a lot.
Bryce Drew, his brother, who hit the famous shot
Grand Canyon
for Valparaiso, is the coach of Grand Canyon.
Shout out the Lopes.
But yeah,
great name though, Antelopes, Justin. Just great name.
But you're right. You look at Scott Drew at Baylor, but like, those guys weren't on Dan Hurley's level. Like this,
he's kind of in a league of his own.
Well, now he is headed to a league of a whole lot of other stuff, because it seems as though this thing is far enough down the road that we can kind of assume that it is going to happen. Like, Woj doesn't make this announcement if the Lakers don't want it announced, because it seems as though the JJ Redick part of this was either A, smokescreen of all smokescreens, or B, wishful thinking from Team LeBron. So, real quick, let me tell you guys how some of this works. And most of you probably know this, and if I'm speaking down to you, please don't be offended. But some people don't know how this works. Not boots on the ground reporters. Like, we have a lot of reporters on our show. Aaron Fentress is a reporter for the Blazers. Sean Hyken with the Rose Garden Report is a reporter. Those guys go to games. They go to practices. They get quotes. And yes, some of them have sources and some of them have contacts, and some of those contacts will feed them information. But a reporter is very different than an insider. Insider's a relatively new thing in the sports world. I'm trying to think who really created it. Like Chris Mortensen kind of really created it in the NFL. And then who's the guy on Fox who does the MMA fighting? You know what I'm talking about? NFL on Fox, MMA fighter, insider. Why can't I think of his name? All I can think about is Chris Mortensen. Google NFL Fox insider, and I bet you.
Jay Glazer?
There it is. Thank you. Love Googling in real time. Jay Glazer was one, and Chris Mortensen, and then Adam Schefter is now kind of that NFL insider. And what insiders do, and Ian Rappaport, I think, he's an insider. And obviously Woj in the NBA and Woj in Shams are the two in the NBA that are fighting it out for ultimate supremacy. And so what insiders do is they have connections most of the time with either agents or GMs. And agents and GMs feed them information. It is you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You get this information out. You put Chris Haynes is a tremendous NBA insider, right? And whenever Chris Haynes says, like, league sources say Damian Lillard, it's like, we know league sources is Dame. We know it. So when Woj reports, Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN reports that Lakers are targeting Dan Hurley, that's not him hearing things, and that's not scuttlebutt. That is not, that's one of my favorite words. What's the scuttlebutt? Do you know what scuttlebutt is, by the way?
I was like 4 years ago is when I first learned it was scuttlebutt and not scuttlebug.
Yeah,
I thought it was
it's a scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
The scuttlebutt is the thing that
it's like a water cooler or something, right?
It's a barrel, and the scuttlebutt, I believe, is one of the things that you put into a barrel to get the rum or the whiskey out, and that's why everybody's gathered around the scuttlebutt.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Just
hey, Stanley, what's going on here?
Could you imagine getting
the scuttlebutt?
Could you imagine getting your rosé out of a wooden oak barrel 200 years ago?
Oh boy,
just like.
I know.
Put the old cork in and pour out the scuttlebutt.
So
that's funny.
So this is not rumors. This is not, hey, I'm hearing things. This is coming from either Jeannie Buss or coming straight from Dan Hurley's agent. Right?
Oh, yeah. There's
and likely more Jeannie Buss.
I mean, and add in like Rob Pelinka to that, but that's about it. There's three major power brokers in this deal.
Yes, it could also be coming straight from Rob Pelinka.
Yes,
right.
It's one of those three. Like, this isn't even LeBron, folks. Like, Justin told me in the pre-show meeting, and he was so right. He's like, LeBron might have been told to take a step back here.
So this is what I wonder. The JJ Redick thing was picking up so much steam, right? And Shams was like, they narrowed the search. And so Shams might be getting his information from one place, Team LeBron, and Woj might be getting his information from somewhere else, Team LA Lakers. And there's two things that could have happened, in my opinion, to have such a smokescreen in JJ Redick, and then ultimately to have a complete left turn and go get Dan Hurley out of UConn. Either A, the JJ Redick rumors just kind of happened organically because he has a relationship with LeBron and he's wanting to, and maybe it came from JJ Redick's camp that, hey, let's put my name out there because I want to be the next head coach. And the Lakers as an organization were probably more than happy to let those rumors continue to grow and grow and grow. Meanwhile, this is what a smokescreen is. While we're all distracted going like, JJ Redick, is this going to work? He's a podcast host. He did. Meanwhile, they can sit and talk to Dan Hurley all day long, and no one is the wiser because nobody is checking the phone logs there at the crypto.com front offices going like, boy, they've made a lot of calls to Stores, Connecticut lately because everybody's talking JJ. So that might be it. I put that at about a 25% probability. Here's what I believe, and maybe because I love the drama. I think LeBron James definitely wanted J.J. Redick to be the head coach. And I think LeBron James, through Rich Paul, his agent, and through Shams, because Shams is Brenden, you know the whole agent thing more than I do. Shams is kind of a Rich Paul guy, right? He seems to get a lot of Rich Paul client info on his Twitter feed. That LeBron, while out of one side of his mouth was saying, I'm not going to be part of this coaching search, but part of the other side of his mouth is like, hey, float the J.J. Redick stuff. And then I wonder if push came to shove and Jeannie Buss, who has been a part of the Lakers organization since the 70s.
As a young youth, very young youth.
Yeah. So almost as a teenager, but
pretty much.
Throughout the entire 80s, Showtime Lakers, ever heard of them? Kind of a big deal. And then the Kobe Lakers. And obviously, look, they put 3 statues of Kobe out there for a reason. They're not going to put a statue of LeBron out there. It's the truth.
You sure about that?
I am 100% positive. I don't think LeBron's getting a Lakers statue.
I have no idea. I'm curious.
It
was so.
My point is that I think the Lakers ownership asked them, greatest Laker of all time, Jeannie Buss is going to say Kobe Bryant. I just believe it.
I don't disagree. No.
Don't know what that has to do with this, but here's what I believe. I believe Jeannie Buss might have been finally pushed to where it was like, LeBron wants J.J. Redick to be the coach, and LeBron wants us to draft his kid who averaged 4 points across town at USC. I don't know if you see all those banners up there. Yeah, LeBron, you brought us one in the bubble, and you know what? We are forever grateful for that, and you kept us relevant over the last 6 years. Since Kobe retired and then sadly passed away, and we lost both as a basketball player and as a living ambassador, one of the biggest names in this organization's history. But I'm Jeannie Buss. You don't pick the coach. I do. I'm Jeannie. I've been here before you. I'm going to be here after you. My kids are going to be running this organization when I am gone. I pick the coach. My GM picks the players. We are not drafting your kid, and we are not picking your coach. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I want to believe it.
If that's really
my brain revolves around TV shows.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Justin, I hope it's true.
It's got to be the way.
Just so we could see LeBron be like, "Yeah, I'm out," and just I'm here for all that drama.
And there's something there, which we're going to talk about, an interesting timeline for LeBron James. What is he like? Does this affect LeBron James? Does this affect the Bronny James draft? Because I feel like the Lakers had a whole plan in place, or so they thought. So we'll dive into that. But more importantly, now with Jim Harbaugh and Dan Hurley both winning national championships and bolting, there is a college athletics side to this, which is there is no more cruise control in college football or college basketball. What am I talking about? I'll tell you about it next here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, coming up 1 hour from now, Josh Pate's going to join the show from Late Kick Live. Got a lot of fun stuff to talk to Josh about. Boy, there has been a really big, I don't want to say blow up, but like magnifying glass, thanks to the internet, finally looking at the College Football Hall of Fame. We talked about the College Football Hall of Fame. But Josh Pate and then another guy named Brenden Walker, who they have a little bit of a beef, which is kind of funny. I'm going to ask Josh about that. But kind of like shined a light on the amount of play. We talked about it a little bit, and I'd like to put us in this boat because why not? I remember looking at that list of players and going like, wait. Deshaun Jackson hasn't played college football since 2007. Why is Deshaun Jackson not in? Why is he first on the ballot? And so turns out, Brenden, there's like 50 guys not in the College Football Hall of Fame, and you go like, slap your forehead. So we're going to talk to Josh about that, get his thoughts on other wheelings and dealings that's going on in the college football world. Oh, we have a schedule announcement for the college football playoff. So we know when the college football playoff games are going to be. Usually, I am a grumpy old curmudgeon. I don't hate it. I don't love it because I've always been an advocate for postseason football. If it's not New Year's Day, there's no reason to not be playing on Saturdays. And everyone's like, oh, Justin, you don't want to compete with the NFL. It's like, why can't we? Why can't college football compete with the NFL? I go to college football games each and every week. I've been to multiple NFL games. Seems like there's a lot of butts and a lot of seats. But I don't hate it. Don't love it, but I don't hate it. So we'll get his thoughts on the college football playoff. And I've got some other weird questions for Josh. So very excited to have him on in an hour from now. Update on the update and stuff we saw on the internet is going to be coming up a little bit later on in the program. But we start with the big news of the morning, which is, according to multiple sources, but the biggest being Adrian Wojnarowski, reporting that the Los Angeles Lakers are potentially just steps away from hiring Dan Hurley. What? Yeah, that Dan Hurley as their next head coach. We thought it was going to be J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick's name was popping up all over the place the last couple of weeks, was really popping up over the weekend. Shams kind of got bodied on this one. Hey, you know what? You take your L. You get back in the fight, kid. But it seems like J.J. Redick, exit stage left. Dan Hurley, you move to the front of the line, which has a lot of interesting NBA and Laker implications, but it also has some college sports implications we're going to talk about right now. Yes, Brenden.
Yeah, I think kind of with this, Justin, in my head, because we're sitting here trying to wrap our mind around how this happened, and you just keep seeing team is preparing massive long-term offer. I just think back to the scene in Wolf of Wall Street when Leonardo DiCaprio's just got the fun coupons, and it's like, and he's just throwing the bills. Like, that's literally how I imagine the Lakers are right now. Because you're like, he would be, because you think like Monty Williams set the standard, and I think it's Greg Popovich that kind of gone back and forth at like $10 million a year.
Yeah.
So what do you think realistically? Would 15 be crazy? Would 20 be crazy?
20 would be crazy.
Okay.
I think
just want to see what a crazy number is.
But at this point, right, if you feel like you have got the guy that can get – we have seen in the NBA – now, the Lakers are not part of this. The Lakers are kind of printing their own money. But I bring up the Warriors all the time. We get this list every summer, which is the Forbes list of – valued franchises, not just in the NBA, but in all of sports. The Warriors were never on the top tier of this list. Then the Warriors went and won 4 championships in a decade, and guess what? They're worth a couple $1 billion more than they were before they won championships.
Lakers were third as of this last year.
What are their estimated worth?
$6.9 billion. And
yeah,
right,
and I think that number is very low. I think that the Lakers, if Jeannie Buss decided I want to sell the Los Angeles Lakers, that number starts at $10 billion. It does.
I don't disagree, but man, just
it's like
hearing that out loud.
It's the Lakers, so that's why they are printing their own money, right? It's the most valuable. I would say, is it the most valuable franchise in the NBA?
Per this, the Warriors are at 8.
Yeah.
So, but that's brand new arena, right?
Brand new arena. And like I said, the Warriors were never on, like they were never in the top 10 for years and years and years. And guess what? You win a couple of championships, you get one of the greatest shooters of all time, and all of a sudden, your fortunes change, which is why if the Lakers feel like they've got a guy in Dan Hurley that can get them to a championship level once again, money is no object here. They're playing with monopoly money. You talk about the fun coupons, like they are literally playing with monopoly money, but it's real money. I want to talk about the college part of this, though, because I don't think Dan Hurley left for the money. I think there's plenty of money in college basketball. I think there are plenty of avenues to make money, and I'm sure that UConn was willing to. What did they just pay Gino Auriemma, by the way? I don't know if they disclosed, but he just got himself a new 5-year extension. The women's coach at UConn, now one of the greatest, if not the greatest women's basketball coach of all time.
So, again, consider women's is a little bit different. 5 years, $20 million, so about 4 years per.
But $4 million per for women's basketball
is insane because, like, I know, for example. Go ahead. Or, so,
I was just going to say the revenue
yeah.
and all. It's an insane amount of money.
But, like, for instance, just related to here, I know with endorsements a little bit more. Kelly Graves and Scott Ruick start about $1 million a year.
Yeah.
So just maybe a little bit more, but that's insane.
So I don't think Dan Hurley is going to leave for the money. I think there is an uncertainty and an unease in college athletics right now. And let me start with this and try to organize my thoughts. I believe every high-level coach in college basketball and college football has an itch to win at the professional level. I believe it with my heart. Every single one of them. Dan Lanning has said, I'm never leaving Eugene. Eugene's the best place. The grass is damn green in Eugene, right? Made a great T-shirt. But I think in the back of Dan Lanning's mind, he has to think like, boy, if I could coach the Kansas City Chiefs, could I win a Super Bowl? You have to think that way. Look, I host a radio show in Portland, Oregon. I have hosted a radio show in Seattle, Washington. I started my career in Eugene, Oregon. Don't think that every once in a while, in the back of my mind, I don't go like, I think I can coach. I think I can do a show on ESPN. Of course I do. Everybody, you in your job have to think in the back of your mind, I think I could do this at the top level. Now, some of you may be laughing and going, Justin, that's cute and all. But I'm like, you do that in the back of everyone's head. Like, I think I could host First Take. I think I could do that. So I believe every coach at a high level has that question, right? Sitting in your own mind when you're not talking to reporters and you're going like, boy, could I coach in the NBA? I just won national championships. Could I coach in the NBA? I think Dana Altman thinks that way. Crazy as it sounds, I think Wayne Tinkle has probably had that thought. Wayne Tinkle is probably like, could I coach in the boy? If I had Steph Curry, you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
Every coach feels that way. So we start with that baseline. I believe that with all my heart. Don't have any evidence, but I believe it. If there is ever a time for a high-level coach to take the plunge, right? Because the reason these coaches don't leave college to go to the NBA is because the NBA will chew you up and spit you out, and they do not care how many rings you have. They don't care how many college Final Fours, college Final Fours. That's cute. This is the NBA, kid, right?
Like, to your point, there's probably 5 or 6 coaches in college basketball who could walk into any locker room in the NBA and command respect.
Exactly right. And even then, they're like,
you got to do it the right way.
We talked $15 million. That's cute. I'm a Supermax player.
I make 50.
I'm soon to be 60. Okay, so that's cute. I practice when I want. There's just that. So I think there's a lot of things that have kept college coaches going to the NBA because the NBA, you are a scapegoat as a head coach. You don't have a ton of power in terms of how you build your roster. That's the GM. And they will chew you up and spit you out. But the college world's changed. The college landscape has changed. And I believe this is both for football and for basketball. And it's not just the fact that the last 2 national champions in both football and basketball are now, if Dan Hurley does leave, leaving to the professional ranks. But we saw the Chip Kelly moving to be a coordinator. He also was trying to get NFL jobs. We've seen more and more college coaches maybe taking a look at the professional route, because there used to be a path here. Go with me on a journey, kids. The journey is all the way back in 2019. All right, 2019, in college football and in college basketball, there was a blueprint, there was a roadmap, there was a path to what is commonly what I would phrase as being on cruise control. Self-driving car. By the way, rode in a self-driving car not that long ago. They're fascinating. Fascinating. Freaked me out. Didn't like. Car was changing lanes, Brenden, on its own. Freaked me out. Still don't know if I'm ready for that. But you could get into self-driving mode in college sports. What am I talking about? Well, you come in, you're a young, hungry, either A, assistant, or B, smaller conference coach in either college basketball or college football. You're grinding it out. You're working, 16-hour days. You are at every possible AAU tournament, high school basketball game, summer camp. You are crazy looking at the portal, all of this stuff so that you could build up a team, and then maybe you get promoted. Then you get an opportunity. You get a Power 5 job, right? You get a Power 5. And that's what Dan Hurley did, right? Dan Hurley was at Buffalo. He was the head coach wasn't he the head coach at Buffalo?
That was Bobby.
Was it
Rhode Island for Dan.
He was. I thought he was at Buffalo first. I thought he went Buffalo to Rhode Island to
Wagner to Rhode Island to UConn. Yes,
Wagner.
you're thinking of Bobby. You're thinking of Bob.
I knew the Bison were in there. All right, so he was coach at Wagner.
Wagner.
Then he was the coach at Rhode Island. And then he got the job at UConn. And then he built up his empire at UConn and won back-to-back national championships and is regarded as the best coach in the game. Now, back in the day before NIL transfer portal world, that is what you would call cruise control, self-driving. You no longer pound the pavement. You have ascended to the level of national championship coach, and that big fat ring comes with some privileges. And those privileges are, you don't go to these tiny little high school gyms anymore. You don't have to schmooze AAU coaches anymore. You have assistants for that. You have set up a precedent where there's only so many high-level five-star recruits, but you're on everybody's list because what high school basketball player in the country, Brenden, who has any inclination of playing in the Final Four, doesn't have UConn on their list? You better. So you're on that gravy train. Except the biscuit wheels that run that gravy train, they've fallen off in college sports. Happened in football, too. Football is the same way. Dabo Swinney, I think, was the last guy to get on the gravy train. What you do is you build up your program. You go to either win a couple of conference championships, you win some big, giant games. Your fan base falls completely in love with you, freaks out that you're ever going to leave, and you get a lifetime contract. That's what Dabo has at Clemson. He's never getting fired. Or if he is, it's going to be in about 5 years. He has a $60 million buyout. And Clemson ain't Texas A&M. And you see these coaches that win a couple of big... Ed Orgeron, he was on Easy Street. LSU kicked him out. Paid him, though.
Still getting paid, I believe.
Still getting paid.
Like Jimbo. Long time.
So that used to be the way it would go. These coaches would win big, then would become figureheads, right? They always say the CEO of the team, right? He's the CEO. He's the figurehead. The assistants are the one doing the legwork. Well, guess what? You can't do that anymore. Why? Because if you have a player in college basketball who does not have a personal relationship with the head coach, guess what? He's transferring. He's out. If you have a booster that doesn't feel like they have a personal relationship with the head coach, guess what? That NIL money is gone. I'll give it to somewhere else. The cruise control country club lifestyle that I think a lot of these coaches, and by the way, they should strive for, is kind of done. You have to be a maniac every single year. Forget that. Every single month. You don't even get to take a break. Every single month, you have to be a recruiting maniac. You have to be recruiting the portal. You have to be recruiting your own roster. You have to be recruiting high school. And you got to be recruiting boosters. You have to be a fundraiser. You have essentially turned the position of head coach into that of congressman. You ever watch congressmen? You ever wonder why they freak out so much? Is because every couple of years they might get voted out and they have to ask for money every single day. That's what college sports has become. And I can't blame a guy like Dan Hurley who would look at UConn and be like, I have built an empire. Krzyzewski is gone. Jay Wright's gone. Roy Williams is gone. Calipari got bounced out of Kentucky. Who is my competition? Truly, who is my competition? None right now. Maybe Kansas, right? Maybe Bill Self at Kansas still holds some cachet, but Izzo's on his way out soon. The old guard in college basketball is, why would Hurley leave right now? Because he doesn't want to re-recruit his own players every single month, probably every single week. He doesn't want to hold hands and babysit, which, by the way, is kind of ironic because he's going to go to the Lakers. And if he did go to the Lakers, yeah, he's still going to have to manage egos. He's still going to have to babysit. He's still going to have to deal with all that. But you know what you do have? Contracts. At least I know, for the most part, my players are my players. They've got a contract. I'm not going to wake up one morning, get a text from an assistant coach saying, hey, James wants to transfer. He's out. He doesn't like his NIL deal. Well, guess what? If Austin Riley doesn't like his contract, well, then take that up with the GM, please. That doesn't come to my phone. Until college sports gets some regulation under this NIL and transfer portal stuff and takes it away from being the wild, wild west, I think you are going to see more and more coaches giving professional sports a shot. Because as I said to open up this segment, I believe every coach wants to try it. But the reason you don't try it is because why would you give up such a good thing? You could be in a lifetime contract, living the country club lifestyle in college. So why would you go grind it out in the pros? Because the college lifestyle of country club life is gone now. Grinding it out in the pros is almost easier than grinding it out in college, because now to be a high-level coach in college football and in college basketball, guess what? You're grinding it out. And if you're going to grind it out and have players who want to leave every other month and have boosters, then why wouldn't I just go try the Lakers? What's the drawback? What would be the negative at this point? In the before times, I'd be like, the negative is you sit there and you build an empire. You walk on water on this particular campus, and the players just all come to you. That's what Nick Saban did at Alabama. Nick Saban grinded it out for a couple of years. Go back and look, 2007, Alabama. Just go back and look. It's not Alabama like Nick Saban left it. He grinded it out for about 3 to 4 years and set up a pipeline of talent that came to him. Talent comes to me. Doesn't work that way anymore. Talent might come to you, but then they get temperamental, and then talent. It's not a one-way train into campus anymore. It's 2-lane highway. Is college sports better? I don't think Dan Hurley's going to be the last. I don't think he's going to be the last. And also, here's the other ugly little thing, which we'll talk about more later on in the big show. These college coaches are understanding that football is moving the needle. The football is running the show, and it's not you. Even if you win national championships at UConn, UConn's still making decisions based upon football. All right, we have got, speaking of football, on campus coming up next. Before we do that, I do want to let you know that us here at Rip City Radio, we're keeping Ticket Tuesday and the winning streak alive with exclusive tickets to the Hillsboro Hops all season long. Listen to Rip City Drive each and every Tuesday afternoon for a chance to win and get Hops tickets right now at hillsborohops.com. On campus next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, we got more coming up on the potential of the Lakers hiring Dan Hurley. Boy, what does this mean for LeBron James? What does this mean for Bronny? Because if you would have said just a couple of days ago, hey, Lakers are going to hire J.J. Redick and they're going to draft Bronny at like 54, I think, or 55 is where they have the second round pick. Even if you said, you know what, hey, the Lakers are going to draft him in the first round because I think there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, because what is 17th is where their the draft pick is. Yeah, there's a lot of, you could go back in time and find number 17 overalls and find probably a lot of very talented and a lot of big time players. But there's a lot of 17 overalls that we were like, it was a bust. There was no need for that. But does this throw a wrench into the Bronny James situation? So we'll dive into that coming up in the next hour. Also, Josh Pate's going to be joining the program. We'll talk some college football with Josh. Boy, we are learning a lot of names in the college football world that are not in the College Football Hall of Fame. It's not just Mike Leach, who I think was kind of the tip of the iceberg. So we will. Does there need to be a College Football Hall of Fame cold case committee? Remember when the there was a cold case craze for a long, long time. It started with the CBS show Cold Case. And then, what was it? The integrity unit or something like that. It was like where they would go back and they would redo cases to make sure like they didn't screw up in the past. Like, and it was a real life thing in police stations and police departments across the country. Like they would have these crime integrity units where they go back and check their work and be like, hey, we have way more technology than we did in like 1989. Should we maybe check and make sure we didn't put the wrong guy in jail? Do we need a College Football Hall of Fame integrity unit? And am I the guy to head up this particular unit? I don't know. We'll talk to Josh about that coming up next hour. So, speaking of college football, we have a schedule. No, we have a regular season schedule. We've had that for a while. But now we have the official schedule of the 12-team college football playoff. Times and dates. Here we go. Let's hit on campus. Fair warning. I have always been adamant that other than January 1, which has been a traditional college football day, college football's biggest mistake with the national championship is not playing it on a Saturday. They are not playing this upcoming year's national championship on a Saturday. I don't like that. It bothers me. I feel like it is a massive, massive missed opportunity. Saturday is owned by college football, right? Saturdays down south, Saturdays in the fall. Don't call me on a Saturday. I'm watching college football. We understand that that is ubiquitous. I think I'm using that word right. With college football. So I don't understand that why on the biggest day of college football, it's like, oh, let's do a Monday night. You could sell me all your numbers and your viewership and blah, 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 blah. It's a big, big, big miss. That being said, I am pumped up. Brenden, first round of the playoffs on college campuses. There is one Friday night game. Don't like that. But the rest shall fill up. December 21st is going to be a pretty fun day for college football fans because you are going to have back-to-back first-round games on college campuses. I have not been a fan of the 12-team playoff. I understand that it is reality and I must accept reality. That being said, you know what I am kind of looking forward to? I want to see an SEC team go play in a cold weather climate for a game that matters outside in December. I want to see that so bad. Because you think about it in the SEC, and for a good chunk, the Big 12, yeah, every once in a while you got to go to Iowa State, and it's kind of cold up in Iowa State. But those warm weather teams, and they play in those warm weather climates, and then you go to the college football playoff, which is either warm weather or in a dome, and then the national championship, which is either warm weather or in a dome. Could you imagine, So Georgia's still probably the best team in the SEC. Second best, Texas, right?
Or LSU.
Or LSU.
Probably not now with Jaden Daniels gone, but.
You think LSU's going to be better in Texas? You think LSU's going to be better in Texas?
Oh, I said probably not since Jaden Daniels left.
I gotcha.
But yeah.
I misunderstood what you were saying. Anyways, LSU or Texas, right? Let's say Georgia wins the SEC, and
we got to give some love to, like, Ole Miss.
I thought that as well. But let's just say Georgia wins, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They get the first round bye. So they move all the way to the quarterfinals. They're playing in either Fiesta Bowl, Rose Bowl, Peach Bowl, Sugar Bowl. Oh, very exciting old school BCS stuff right there. So, like, you get a team like, let's say, Texas or LSU or Ole Miss, and it's like, yeah, you have made the playoff. You have to go in the first round to Ohio State because Oregon's winning the Big Ten. Sorry about it. You got to go to Ohio State. You got to play in the Horseshoe December 21st or at the Big House or at Penn State or at Wisconsin. How awesome is that going to be? I think it's going to be so cool. Or you get a team like, let's say, Oregon or Washington. I don't know if Washington's a playoff team. They might be. Who knows? Maybe Jed Fish has got the boys figured out. You make top 12, and all of a sudden you got to go. I love the on-campus so much better than the rest of this college football playoff. So December 21st, mark it on your calendars. It is going to be a day. You better have your Christmas shopping done before the 21st because it is all day college football. Then traditional bowl games, Fiesta Bowl, New Year's Eve, Peach Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, all going to be on New Year's Day. New Year's Day is going to be an awesome day as well. Then January 9th and 10th, that's a Thursday and a Friday for the semifinals, the Final Four, if you will. I wish it was on a Saturday, but nonetheless. And then Monday, we get the national championship on January the 20th. There you go. There is the schedule for the college football playoff in the upcoming season. I'm pumped for the first round. Those are kind of become kind of quasi, like, conference championship games on college campuses. It's going to be pumped. Second hour of the big show coming up. Josh Pate's going to join the show. More on Dan Hurley potentially heading to the Los Angeles Lakers and stuff we saw on the internet. All next, 620 Rip City Radio. It is 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. NBA Finals begin tonight. Boston Celtics take on the Dallas Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 5:30 on ABC. In a surprising twist, the Lakers are now actively pursuing UConn head coach Dan Hurley as their next head coach. This according to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Reports are that they have already jumped over multiple hurdles and are expected to offer a massive contract. Coming up on the big show in 20 minutes from now, Josh Pate's going to join us to talk some college football and some other fun stuff. Does College Football Hall of Fame need a complete overhaul? So we'll dive into that in 20 minutes. But hour number 2 of Rip City Morning starts right now on 620 Rip City Radio. Hey, welcome back to Rip City Mornings, everybody. As I mentioned in the update, Josh Pate's going to join us. He is the host of Late Kick Live with Josh Pate, talk some college football. The College Football Hall of Fame thing has really taken on a life of its own on the internet. Now, it might just be my internet circles. It might just be my Twitter algorithm. But I feel like, especially this year, there's a lot of people, including myself, who are like going, what? That guy's not in? That guy's not in? That guy's not in? And there's like do we need a committee? Does the College Football Hall of Fame? Now, again, I've been to the College Football Hall of Fame. I've been in the building. I believe it, when I was there, it was sponsored by Chick-fil-A. Brenden, will you look up, make sure the College Football Hall of Fame might still be sponsored by Chick-fil-A? Because when I went there, it was the Chick-fil-A College Football Hall of Fame. And with the amount of, it's still that, this might be the worst thing Chick-fil-A's ever done. Chick-fil-A, famously efficient, right? Famously efficient. Like, we see all those Chick-fil-A commercials. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, you know what? When I went to Chick-fil-A on my birthday, they knew it was my birthday, and it's just the kind of service I expect. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. You know those commercials. But Chick-fil-A, I don't know if they want their name on this College Football Hall of Fame, if they know Haloti Ngata, not in. Not in. We talked about Mike Leach, not in. Howard Schnellenberger, not in. He's not in the
Howard
Schnellenberger, not in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Guy. Miami football is not the U without him.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm wondering, do we need an integrity unit, college football integrity unit, where we go back and here's the other thing, because this is what the College Football Hall of Fame can do. You can do this tomorrow. Chick-fil-A efficiency. Right? We can get those kids out there in those headsets with the laminated menus go 14 cars back, and somehow they still know it's your order. How they do that, I don't know. It's magic. Or maybe it's just attention to detail. And maybe we get some attention to detail here and just go, because if you've ever been to the College Football Hall of Fame, it's not like the Pro Football Hall of Fame where there are statues everywhere. It is not like the Baseball Hall of Fame where there are plaques everywhere. This is not an area where you have lack of real estate. You can do, and also last time I checked, because my famous friend is in the College Football Hall of Fame, there's not like a ceremony every year. And if there is, it's not a big deal. The Hall of Fame is all digital. There's not plaques on the wall. You go in, it's an interactive digital portal that you go into, and you can, and it's a touch screen. You can put in anybody you want.
Yeah.
It's all digital. It's like the cloud. You could run the College Football Hall of Fame from a 2-bedroom apartment if you wanted to.
My question for you, Justin, is, and again, I'm not trying to say that any of the people who aren't in it have issues, but is the College Football Hall of Fame like the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, where we're like, there's character reasons why people are in and not in?
There might be, but if you look at
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, but if you look at the list, it's like Pat White, who was at West Virginia. Steve Slayton's on the ballot now. Pat White, he was the catalyst of that mid-2000s run of West Virginia. Pat White's a Hall of Famer in college. Wasn't that great with the Miami Dolphins, but he's a Hall of Famer from college. Last I checked, Pat White, no character issues. It's just, I don't know. We'll talk about that with Josh coming up in about 15 minutes. Also, we do have an update on stuff we saw on the internet. Get duped again. But big news of the morning is Dan Hurley. Dan Hurley, according to multiple sources, Lakers targeting Dan Hurley as their next head coach. That doesn't get reported out by Woj if that doesn't come, I believe, directly from either Jeannie Buss or from Rob Pelinka, the GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. And we talked about it in the first hour about what's going on in college sports and what's, I think, driving a lot of these coaches to finally maybe just take the leap, because do you really want to be in college dealing with boosters and NIL and fundraising and everything else? It's a lot of headaches. Some guys are built for it. Dan Lanning, that guy's built for it. Some guys aren't. Dabo Swinney, looking in your direction. But it's a changing landscape, and it's a weird spot right now. And if you were ever going to take the leap and get an opportunity to coach at the professional level, which every major coach, I believe, wants to do, they all want to believe that they can coach at the highest level. Now would be the time to do it. Now, here's where we look at the LeBron James part of this. Now, LeBron James, for what we know, has said, I am not going to be involved with the Laker coaching search. And we all laughed and laughed and laughed, because there's no way, shape, or form LeBron James, who has been the biggest coach killer in the NBA, other than Eric Spoelstra, nobody else gets out with their job when they coach LeBron, right? Has there been anybody other than Spoelstra who's kept their job?
Well, we talked about this before I left, and it was Eric Spoelstra's the only coach who had survived the LeBron meat grinder, so to speak.
Every other coach gets.
I saw it this morning.
Just gets kicked right, taken to the train station, if you know what I'm saying.
Apropos
coach wise.
But no, like even just like beyond LeBron, like I saw like right when we started this show, they looked up, they go, whoever this next coach for the Lakers is their 11th coach since like 2010.
I know.
So I mean,
like we talked about the Lakers, like they hit with Pat Riley, they hit with Phil Jackson. That's about it. They got a lot. They kissed a lot of frogs. You know what I mean? And they got a couple of princesses there, but they got a lot of frogs. I mean,
do you think that, like, and very much like we'll probably get into this more, but I mentioned to you something about Jeannie Buss's legacy earlier and how I think this could be a big, legacy hire for her, and with that, I'm like, do you think it's because she's definitely stewarded over these hirings and firings these last couple years? Do you think she's kind of just done with that and is like, let's at least just invest in a coach, and if it works, it works? Because to your point, Justin, they didn't play hippity hop in all their best years when she was there. Like they settled on Pat Riley, settled on Phil.
I think it's got to have gotten to the point, and this might be my LeBron bias because I am not. He annoys me. I don't dislike him. He annoys me. It's a sports dislike. All right. But I do wonder if there is something with the Lakers finally going, LeBron, we've tried your way. It's not working. Yeah, you won it in the bubble, but let's all be realistic about what that was, right? You were the only one maniacal enough to want to stay in the bubble. Everyone else wanted to leave. Like, yes, you won it in the bubble. Since then, no playoffs, play-in, first round. You made the Western Conference Finals, got swept, clearly weren't there. But like the LeBron era of the Los Angeles Lakers and him being a consigliere, right? He wouldn't know what that is because that's from The Godfather. You actually have to watch The Godfather to know what a consigliere is. But that's a cheap shot.
Hey,
but
you know what?
But to be like the advisor, to be the I wonder if the Lakers are finally going like, LeBron, your way's not working. It's not. I know you carry a lot of water around here, but your way's not working. So it does make me wonder, what's going to happen by June 29th? All right, because here's what we know on the calendar. Between now and June 29th, there will be an NBA draft. An NBA draft will happen. Bronny James will get drafted by someone. On June 29th, LeBron James can up until that point, decline his player option and become an unrestricted free agent. Am I correct on that? Becomes unrestricted?
So he could opt out of that, and he can sign anywhere.
He can sign anywhere he wants.
Anywhere. Atlanta Hawks, you want to draft Bronny? Go for it.
Does LeBron start floating out into NBA circles? Hey, draft Bronny, you get me. And Fentress brought this up yesterday, and we were running out of time, and I kind of glossed over it. But Fentress brought this up. Even with, is there a team in the league? Is there a team in the league right now, even the Wizards and the Pistons and the Blazers, that they get LeBron James, they're at least going to the playoffs? You get LeBron James? Every team in the league, you get LeBron James, you're at least going to the playoffs. So why would you not draft Bronny?
I mean,
if you were a team, like if LeBron floats out in the NBA circles, you draft my kid, you get me vet minimum. Vet minimum. I've already made all my money. I want to play basketball with my son. I want to check off that box on my basketball scavenger hunt. Play professional basketball with son. Does LeBron pull that off? I wouldn't put it past him.
There's two
to
teams.
be like, I don't like this Dan Hurley hire. I wanted J.J. Redick.
There's two teams I would watch in that scenario, Justin. One being the Oklahoma City Thunder, because they have the ability to not mess with their team at all.
Yeah.
Have draft picks and cap space. So that one's probably a stretch, but that's one.
Could you imagine the Oklahoma City Thunder draft Bronny, and you get LeBron James on a vet minimum
with that team
with Chet and with.
That'd be nasty.
Now, does LeBron want to go to Oklahoma City?
Probably not. So my second one that I threw, Philly.
I got a third one.
Okay.
Cleveland.
Could, absolutely.
Cleveland Cavaliers draft Bronny. You now bring the family back to Ohio, right? The James family coming back to Ohio, and Bronny is playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James comes back home. Donovan Mitchell stays. Did they have a coach yet? Did they hire somebody? I don't think they have. Could they hire J.J. Redick?
They have not hired anybody
All right,
yet.
so the Cleveland Cavaliers hire J.J. Redick, draft Bronny. LeBron James declines player option for the Lakers, goes back home to Cleveland. Brenden, they might be the second best team in the East if they do that. LeBron James and Donovan Mitchell?
They would have to finagle some things because they are cap maxed. So we'll see.
There's always a way. Go second apron. Who cares? I don't
you
even
still
know
can't create a $40 million max salary. Like LeBron would have to take less money.
That's what I said. Vet minimum.
Then
LeBron goes vet minimum. Why wouldn't he?
You think he would at this point in his career?
To go back.
A minimum?
Because he cares more about legacy than he cares about money at this point. You go vet minimum. Oh, boy. I think...
I don't know if his ego could take that little money.
Oh, his ego would be so huge. The king comes back to his kingdom of Ohio, and he retires a Cleveland Cavalier. He ends it where he starts it, right? Storybook ending. Oh, that's going to happen. Mark my word. If it does, I'm taking a victory lap on this show. So, Josh Pate coming up. Before we get to Josh, I do want to tell you about our good friends, though, at DeBella. That's right. The great state of Oregon has a home improvement expert in roofing, siding, windows, and bath renovations. It is DeBella. Summer is here. It's a great time to take care of all those projects you've been putting off around your home. Plus, DeBella will come to you on your schedule, provide you with a free estimate, easy, trustworthy, 15,000 five-star reviews on Google. Check them out. That number continues to grow each and every day. So contact DeBella today for roofing, siding, windows, and bath projects. Take advantage of their financing opportunity of no payments till 2025 on approved credit. So get with Oregon's home improvement expert, DeBella, and start saving today. One of the biggest benefits of having this job, and let me tell you, I am extremely grateful and blessed to have this job. But one of the biggest benefits that we get in doing this job is that I, like most of you, go on my algorithm, my phone, and start scrolling. And whether you want to call it Twitter, you want to call it X, and we have people that we follow and people that we like and people that we enjoy. And most of you don't get to have conversations and deeper dives into certain tweets and posts. But luckily enough, on this show, I actually get to talk to a lot of those people and discuss deeper into that, and which is why I'm very excited to welcome one of my favorite follows on the social media app. I don't know what to call it because I think Elon might change the name back, but it is the host of Late Kick Live, friend of the program, Josh Pate, back on the big show. Good morning, Josh. How we doing?
I'm good. I'm just fascinated / mildly concerned which specific tweet it is you'd like to dive into, because this could go a number of different directions, as you know.
Well, Josh, here, let me give you just a preview, because this is going to be a bit of a, I don't want to say a weird interview, but I'm sick of talking about lawsuits, okay? I'm sick of talking about realignment. I have a lot of things about this great sport in college football that you and I love that frustrate me, but I got so much more that I love. There's just some other things in the college football world and just in the world of Josh Pate online that I want to dive a little bit deeper in. So we may talk about gas stations. Again, I think a shared interest that you and I both love. We're definitely going to talk about gifts and certain particular gifts. But we got to start with what kind of inspired something earlier on the show today, which is the realization that the College Football Hall of Fame has got a lot of misses over the last decade or two. I know you have thrown out your plan for when you become in charge of all of college football. I look forward to that. I hope to be a czar. I hope to be a Northwest delegate here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Do we need a college football Hall of Fame integrity unit where we go back and right previous wrongs and just put a big old dump of people into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so, I mean, the lapel of the shirt would, I think, say CFBHOFIU for the College Football Hall of Fame Integrity Unit. It's a very simple acronym. Look, I don't know if you're like me. So I love the folks at the Hall of Fame. They've had us down there multiple times. We've done our show from there multiple times. So the people who run the place are wonderful. I don't know who in the world decided on the criteria to get in, not as a visitor, but as an actual member. It's insane. And I don't think most of the college football or sporting public even gets what we're talking about here. We are not talking about pro sports, okay? So in like pro sports, whether it be baseball or football or whatever, all of the competition is roughly equal. If you played in the NFL, there are like 32 pro teams and the competition level is equal. If you're a head coach, just get one of the pro jobs. And even if it's bad at the moment, you can turn it into something pretty good. In college athletics, that is not the case whatsoever. And yet someone created the guidelines for the College Football Hall of Fame, and they put these hard and fast statistical metrics in there. And one of the metrics that makes absolutely no sense is winning percentage. Because in college sports, I could take Nick Saban. If you think he's the best of all time, I could take Nick Saban and put him at Vandy. Nick Saban's not going to win at a 60% clip, and therefore he's not going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame. Now, the follow-up to that is, well, Josh, if Saban was at Vandy and he was that good, he wouldn't be there long. Point taken. But here's my counterpoint. If we're going to do that, let's just have a Hall of Fame for the top 20 programs in college football. Because at that point, you're telling me, if you stay at one of these jobs that's perennially underachieving, and by the way, we in this statement are fully acknowledging that there are differential tiers in college sports, then you're not going to be in here. So Mike Leach is not eligible for the Hall of Fame. Howard Schnellenberger is not eligible for the Hall of Fame. And candidly, I just assumed Howard was in. I didn't even know he wasn't in until I did this research this week. And then you start going down the list of players that aren't in, and it will blow your mind. And as we're talking, I've actually decided to put this in the show tonight because I've got the rundown in front of me. So you did this. Just know whatever I say tonight, you did this on my show.
I love it. This is fantastic. Josh Pate from Late Kick Live joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. One more thing on the Hall of Fame, because I have also been to the Hall of Fame. it's not like other Hall of Fames where there's real estate problems. Like, it's all interactive. Here's the other thing, Josh. Do you worry because it is, I believe, still the Chick-fil-A College Football Hall of Fame, and this might be the most inefficient thing Chick-fil-A's ever done, right? They can take orders 14 cars deep and get it correct at the window. I don't know, does Chick-fil-A want their name on this?
This is where Chick-fil-A has to step in, to be honest with you, because I will tell you this. No one operates a Hall of Fame at a loss, and especially the College Football Hall of Fame is not going to do that. So we may be going about this all wrong. Forget about targeting the Hall of Fame people. I just need to find someone high enough up at Chick-fil-A to put their foot down. This is not a bad idea. You were bringing some juice this morning.
Oh, I love it. Now, I should Costanza and just end the segment now, but I got more stuff. So we might fall flat on our face. But you know what? You got to take big. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. Right? That's how. That's how this works. You mentioned Mike Leach, and I saw because we have ESPN going on in the studio, and I see the first take and the get up. Topics. We don't get the sound, but we get the topics, which is kind of entertaining. And every once in a while I get distracted. But there was a topic up there of like, which quarterback's career would you rather have, Aaron Rodgers or Eli Manning? And I wanted to throw this to you with the Mike Leach discussion, Josh, because that's what's fascinating about Mike Leach is you mentioned the winning percentage, but also never won a conference, never won a division in a conference, but cannot deny his impact on the world of college football and the offense of college football. So to me, it's like one of those questions: which coaching career would you rather have? That of Gene Chizik or Ed Orgeron, who won a national title, or that of Mike Leach, who has a football legacy that, sadly, he's no longer with us, but is far beyond his life?
Well, two different things here. So if you're asking just a normal person on the street, which legacy, like which career would you have rather had? You got to remember Orgeron and Chizik being good enough to win a title, but then bad enough to get fired a couple of years later means they baked in a new contract, which means they baked in, I think in Orgeron's case, over a $20 million buyout. So if you're just purely in it for the financial, you don't really care that people view you as a failure. You get to live wherever you want to the rest of your life. But just in legacy, I don't think this is debatable. I mean, it's Leach by 10 miles. And this goes back to what we were just talking about. See, if you told me there was a guy who coached in the NFL for 20 years and you're trying to sell him as a Hall of Famer, but you tell me he never even won the AFC North, he never even won the NFC West, well, that's crazy. Because anyone who is one of the best of all time put in a league where everything's built on parity and built for competitive balance is going to end up winning. And I agree with that. Mike Leach coached at Texas Tech, coached at Washington State, and coached at Mississippi State. And anyone, I don't even care if you don't watch college football, if you just casually know of it, you know that those programs, if we talk about haves and have-nots, are in the latter category and always have been and always will be. And yet the guy did huge things at various points at all three of those places relative to their history. But the other thing is, look at his coaching tree and look at his impact on the game. And where you really find out about this is get other coaches to talk about him. That's really, to me, the long and short of it. And when you're talking about legacy, how do you tell the story of college football, specifically offensive college football, but not mention Mike Leach? You can't. That's a Hall of Famer.
Josh Pate from Late Kick Live joining us here on 620 Rip City Radio. One of the other things, Josh, that you and I have in common is our love of watching college football on Saturdays. Yet for some reason, the college football world wants us to not watch college football on Saturdays, especially when it comes to the postseason. I've learned that we got to deal with compromise, right? Never going to get everything we want, but I saw the schedule of the 12-team playoff. I know everybody's excited about this. I've come to terms with it. I did not like the 12-team playoff, but you know what? It's what it is. I guess the first round being played on one Friday night game, and then we get a back-to-back-to-back Saturday. That 21st of December is going to be it's going to be pretty lights out, and then you get the traditional January 1 games. You feeling okay about that? Because I don't like the Monday national title game. I've never understood it. I feel like college football could play that on a Saturday and still do fine numbers. But I guess in terms of compromise, we get the first round on Saturday.
No, I'm not okay with it. Look, yes, we have to compromise, but no, I don't like it. And I looked when they put that press release out yesterday. It arrived in my inbox at the same time as everyone else. Everyone else thought, oh, let's share with the world what the broadcast windows are going to be, what networks the games are going to be on. That'll be fun. The first thing that stood out to me is, and this is not a joke for those listening, there will be college football playoff games this year on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The only day we won't have them on a Sunday, and it's not because we run a Chick-fil-A sport. It's because they're petrified of the NFL. So here's one thing to watch. Okay, college football, it has been sacrilege to even look in the direction of the NFL. And now they couldn't work their way around it. So this first-round set of games, there's one on a Friday and there's three on a Saturday for the first round. I think it's the 20th and 21st of December. Merry Christmas, kids. And they are going to have two of those games, I think, go head-to-head with NFL games. And I'm talking about, like, those guys are in their offices with high heels on, putting lipstick on, a la the scene in Billy Madison right now with sad music playing in the background. They're petrified of this. I'm just curious to see how it goes, because there's always been this theory that if you go head-to-head with the NFL, they get 100% of the audience, you get 0% of it. First off, I've never cared, because the TV ratings don't affect me, because that's not how I make my money, and nor do 99.9% of fans, so why should you care? I'm just interested to see how that pans out. Like, what are the expectation levels for viewership levels? What are the matchups? They're on TNT, by the way, I think, those first-round games. So we'll see how that goes.
All right. Okay, I got a couple more questions, Josh. These are going to be specific to your some will be specific to your Twitter. You are a fan of the teddy bear jumping into the truck GIF. It is one of your favorites, and so I look forward to when I see it. Last one, 3 days ago, you threw it out there. How is this like a Mike Breen bang situation where you limit it? Do you think, oh, is this teddy bear GIF worthy? Is it a gut feeling? Is there analytics to when you use this GIF?
All right, so here's how you know it's time to use it. It's the same way as people who have migraines. If you've ever met someone who said, I think I have a migraine, well, anyone who actually has ever suffered from a migraine knows that person doesn't have a migraine. Because if you really have one, there's no doubt. Okay? Similarly, I think I have a kidney stone. No, you'll know if you have a kidney stone. Well, if it's time to use Suicide Care Bear GIF, you will know. There is no sitting around twiddling my thumbs wondering, should I drop it here? It has to be a moment that just hits you in the face. It's a pure gut punch, like yesterday, for example, when baby Gronk's dad committed his son to the 14th school in 15 days, and I called it out. And then baby Gronk's dad responded to me calling him out by copying and pasting his tweet. That is a Suicide Care Bear GIF moment. That's the kind of moment that warrants it.
I love it. All right, you've been on a run with gas station convenience stores. Again, something that I oddly as well love. Now, out here, Josh, in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, we have got Love's. We have got the Flying J. I have been to a Buc-ee's. We don't have Buc-ee's clearly out here, but I have been to a Buc-ee's. It was magnificent. In your rating and evaluating of truck stops, travel stores, gas station convenience stores, like what are the must-haves? What are the things you look for, right? Because you see like Antiques Roadshow, like they'll get the thing like, yep, this one's a fake, this one's real. What is like your telltale, I'm in a good gas station convenience store right now?
Yeah, so the bathrooms have to actually be welcoming instead of something that you have to ask the station attendant where it's at.
That is so good.
Some of them try and turn you off from using them. Some of them try and advertise that you can use them. Having showers is a bonus, but that's for mainly long-haul trips, and I know a lot of folks listening don't even care about that. You need to have a variety of the snack mixes, not just one version of it. You need to have a very, very bountiful supply of different coffees, different energy drinks, and if you're not interested in that, that's fine. Food selection, especially breakfast food selection. So there's a general store chain named Casey's in the Midwest. and they're world-renowned for their breakfast pizza. I'm a big fan of that. I don't know why every one of these places doesn't do that. People need gas in the morning just like they do in the evening. I think from a pure branding perspective, Love's does a great job on signage. If you ever go into a Buc-ee's, you will never forget it. I know a lot of people listening have only heard about it, never been in there. I resisted for a little while because it looks like an amusement park. Utterly insane. But that's the one chain that has not reached out to me in this gas station recruiting war. So this point forth, I will not mention their name anymore. I'm a big fan of what Quick Trip is doing. I think they're poised to explode with more the travel center style theme instead of just the gas station style theme. And one sleeper, one dark horse, TA Travel Centers.
Oh, yes.
Just got bought by BP. Yeah, just got purchased by BP. I know because I've been having meetings with these people. And let's just keep an eye on them over the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think the bathroom one was key. I think that eliminates almost every AM PM I've ever been to in my life. I think the welcoming bathroom easily eliminates every AM PM that I have ever been to. For me, Josh, you're right on the snack mixes. Does beef jerky go hand in hand with the snack mixes? Beef jerky selection can't just have teriyaki and pepper. I need a jalapeno. For me, it's also a variety of beef jerky.
Yeah, don't just check the boxes on jerky. And here's what I have learned also. So I do a fair amount of storm chasing. So I've been in Kansas and Oklahoma a lot recently. In Oklahoma, I think Quick Trip and Love's are both headquartered in Oklahoma. And what they do a great job of there is sourcing locally produced jerky.
Oh, man.
So you've got the normal chain stuff, like the national stuff, but then they've got a whole section of localized jerky products. And you could spend an entire afternoon just sampling those to the point where, like, I had my gums bleeding from how much I chewed on jerky last time I was out there.
All right, a couple of quick ones. I put these notes down. Josh, you are my ambassador to the South. I have a reverence and a love for the Southern United States. I feel like sometimes I was born in the wrong region, even though I love my home state of Oregon. But you are my ambassador to the South. I heard this being talked about. I am a huge fan of country music. Chase Rice, I'm sure you've heard of Chase Rice of country music fame. Josh, where does Chase Rice stand in the Legends of the South category as a guy who played college football at North Carolina, was a pit crew member of Hendrick Motorsports in NASCAR, and then is also a country music superstar? That's the trifecta of Southern things, right? Chase Rice has pulled it off. He's pulled off the hat trick.
Yeah, I mean, you've got God, football, NASCAR, guitar.
Boom.
Like, you've got those four boxes checked. That is the four square of Southern culture. And listen, I don't know what the guy can do on the grill, but if he has even C-plus grilling capabilities, he is like Mount Rushmore Southern material. Yes, Chase Rice, definite one to keep an eye on.
And I happened to hear that conversation on an internet show that shall not be named, but it is hosted by this one of the next people I want to talk to. How awful is Brandon Walker singing? How bad was that? That astounded, because Josh, you don't have to post the videos, right? You can take the videos, but you don't have to post the videos. That was all-time bad.
Imagine, if you will, the listening audience can play along. Imagine the most embarrassing moment of your life. Then imagine controlling whether people see it or not and choosing to press send on it. Brandon Walker is at a Tim McGraw concert in Chicago last Saturday night, and you're talking about a dying calf. The sound that animal would make is very, very comparable to what it sounded like when Brandon Walker attempted Where the Green Grass Grows or Live Like You Were Dying. And then he just posted for God and everyone to hear on the internet. And so I did what any good American would do. I took it and I trashed it on my show, which is more watched than his. And it got the intended result.
I would play a clip, but one, I don't want to put you through that again. And two, we had a company-wide meeting about being on broadcast radio and playing things from the internet. So we are on threat level midnight on playing videos off the internet here in iHeart World. But you have got all the advantages because you are on the internet. Josh Pate, who is the host of Late Kick Live. There will be a Late Kick Live on YouTube later tonight. You need to follow him at Late Kick Josh. You need to be subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hey, Josh, always love catching up with you. I love talking football and gas stations and country music and Brandon Walker's bad singing. And have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. We look forward to talking to you soon.
This was very fulfilling. I won't even need breakfast now. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that so much. All right. Thanks so much. There you go, boys and girls. Josh Pate, the one and only friend of the program. We have got stuff we saw on the internet coming up next. 620 Rip City Radio. Big thanks once again to Josh Pate, who joined us last segment. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of good stuff. Brenden, I've been obsessed with his evaluations. He calls it gas station or travel center recruiting season. I think you're with me on this. Like you love a good travel center, right? Because now
I do.
my thing is the two things, and I'm with him on the snack mix. I love a good trail mix. My wife makes fun of me so much because we go in and we'll like go on a road trip, and there are two things I buy. It's a mountain or your classic trail mix, which has got peanuts, cashews, almonds, M&Ms, raisins. And I know a lot of people don't like the raisins. I like the raisins in the trail mix. Don't like the raisins in the oatmeal cookies. I don't like that. I don't like the raisins in like banana bread. I don't like that. Do like the raisins in the trail mix.
Psychopath.
Is that more psychopath to you than the fact that I don't wash my hair with shampoo?
No, that's still worse. I've told regular people in my life that you don't do that, and people have been like, what is wrong with him? I kid you not.
I know. I believe it. But hey, don't. I encourage everyone to try it. Go 2 weeks. Go 2 weeks. Don't wash your hair.
Ooh, yeah.
That might. You know what? You will never eat tuna. You've said I won't do it. I can't do it. I won't do it. So I have ended the bet on tuna and probably food. A lot of food is. We might do. We might have to find a friendly wager where if I win, you have to go like 2 weeks no shampoo.
Okay.
And you win, I have to Head and Shoulders. 'Cause that's the only shampoo I would use. I have to Head and Shoulders every single day. We may have to do the shampoo bet.
Or better yet, I do that and we'll shake it up because I know, like, I would like to see Justin with some semblance of facial hair.
Oh, you want beard bet?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I have never seen you with facial hair in my life as someone who has rocked a steady kind of stubble for about.
What do you got going on?
I usually keep it at like this length, and I have not been clean shaven in probably 8 years. It's been a really long time.
If anybody was on YouTube, or if anybody's known me at all over the last handful of years that I've been here, I have red hair. It's more of a strawberry blonde now. My wife says it's because I'm going gray. That's not true.
Ooh, some shots fired.
She does. She loves point. She's like, I go, that is blonde. There, sweet cheeks. So I have when I was in high school, I have very red hair. It's lightened up, but I still I still live the kid life of a ginger. Right? Still got the sunscreen and the freckles and all the bad stuff. But as I grew up, I have more blonde hair now than what would you say? More red or blonde? The hair that is currently on the top of my head.
Blonde, because I don't mean this negatively, but I know true redheads.
Which I was.
It is like, I'm trying to think of like who's like the most famous redhead? Like someone who like
Ed Sheeran?
Yeah, that's up there.
Is he the most famous redhead right now?
You're kind of a mix. The strawberry blonde's an interesting middle ground I like.
I only have to shave once a week. See, if you look at me right now, you'd be like, oh, Justin's clean shaven. I haven't shaved since Sunday.
Really?
And it's because it's light. Like
I can't go 3-4 days usually without doing it.
But I used to have facial hair, but it was when my face was fat. When I had a big fat face, I used facial hair to try to maybe distract people from my my big fat double chin face. And since I have dedicated my life to health and fitness, and as a 44-year-old man with a square jaw, if I do say so myself, I'm like, why would I beard it up when I work so hard to have, a jawline? Now, 3 years ago when I got COVID, I grew a COVID beard, but I shaved it off before.
I think I remember you.
I shaved it off before I came back into the studio.
I think I remember you saying, you're like, oh yeah, I did, but I'd shave it before I came in.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I did not like it. But we could do it too. Like we'll find a game.
Yeah, something similar somehow.
Maybe Civil War point spread. Civil War point spread.
No, I'm not touching that game with a 10-foot pole.
Brenden, point spread. Maybe
still tough, but you could maybe convince me by September.
Something you and I will argue about. Where I will go like, all right, facial hair versus shampoo.
Yeah,
and it'll be a 2-week period. I go 2 weeks where I grow a beard. If I lose, you go 2 weeks without shampooing your hair.
Okay.
I think you will benefit from it immensely because you'll be like, Justin, you were right the entire time. Anyways, back to the gas station.
Yes.
So yeah, I grab a trail mix with raisins, psychopath behavior apparently. And
at least you don't like oatmeal cookies with raisins.
No, I don't.
I would have walked out and said you could finish the show on your own.
No, I don't. I don't think anybody likes those.
Okay, then why do they make them?
I believe there was a generation of people, I think, that went through the Depression who, like, raisins were like a delicacy.
Like protein? Is that what we're talking about
raisins here? In, like, the Great Depression were probably like, like A5 Wagyu, right? You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, it was an absolute delicacy. And so they just put raisins and stuff?
I guess.
That would be my guess. But I like them in trail mix.
Okay, fair enough.
So what is your trail mix or your snack mix variety? And I go beef jerky. Every road trip, I go in, I get a trail mix, I get a beef jerky, and I get a Diet Dr. Pepper. And I am ready for 5 hours on the road. Let's get it. You like the fountains, right? The soda fountain. That's your kind of.
Yeah, I like ice. I know people go, oh, it melts, but I just something about a fountain drink with a lid, and you can get a big old 32-ouncer or whatever it is.
Do you like the styrofoam?
Yes.
You like over the plastic?
Yes. As someone who worked in a business that still sells styrofoam cups to this day, shout out Sonic. They are the drink kings. They know what's up. Those styrofoam cups.
So if you were to power rank styrofoam 1, paper 2, or plastic? Like I think flimsy plastic's got to be last.
Yeah.
Because they'll get that fault line on it.
Yes.
You squeeze it too hard. But the flimsy plastic will also have the cup holder.
Well, and nowadays they try to give you the paper straws that disintegrate before you even finish your drink, too. So, again, I went there, folks. Last week, I saw plenty of turtles in Hawaii. No straws. Just throwing that out there. No straws and turtles. So I think we're good. But all that being said,
so that's
I go with sunflower seeds.
Yeah, seeds are good.
So you usually I'll go in, I'll get a fountain cup. I'll
You go ranch.
Dill pickle is my favorite. Yeah. I like cracked pepper. I like ranch.
I'm an OG. Give me David sunflower seed OG.
Yeah, I can't do original. Not enough
OG.
flavor
That's
there.
Like me and Gatorade. Like this is my Gatorade.
No, I get it.
Lemon lime is my Gatorade, and OG sunflower seeds is my sunflower seeds.
Yeah, no, I get it. But no, I gotta go flavored there. And so many flavors now. And then for sweets, oh man, give me like some. I'm trying to think what's like my go-to anything. You know me, just anything chewy and sour.
Yeah.
I'm all
well,
over.
road trip candy's got to be like I don't want a candy bar.
No, not a bar.
When I'm
like
on a road
bag
trip.
candy, like pulling pieces out and stuff. But anything sour, I'm in.
I think I go peanut butter M&Ms. I go peanut butter M&Ms if I'm gonna go. But give me a trail mix. Give me a beef jerky. All right. We have got hour number 3. We got to make or miss in hour number 3. We got an RCM mailbag. We are locked and loaded next. 620 Rip City Radio. It is 8 a.m. on a Thursday morning. Justin Myers with you. NBA Finals begin tonight in Boston. The Celtics take on the Mavericks. Tip-off is set for 5:30 on ABC. Will J.J. Redick be on the coverage? Because in a surprising twist, the Los Angeles Lakers, who are rumored to be narrowing in on J.J. Redick, are now allegedly pursuing UConn head coach Dan Hurley. Nothing official yet. But according to ESPN and Adrian Wojnarowski, the Lakers targeting Dan Hurley and are expected to offer a massive, massive contract. What is the fallout for this with UConn? What is the fallout for this with the Lakers? What is the fallout for this with the upcoming NBA draft? Lot of layers to this onion in the sports world, and we have got a jam-packed hour number 3, and it starts right now on 620 Rip City Radio. And welcome back to Rip City Mornings, everybody. 20 minutes from now, we have a special third-hour edition of Make or Miss. Josh Pate from Late Kick Live joined us last hour. A lot of fantastic stuff. He really seemed to like my College Football Hall of Fame Integrity Unit idea. I mean, it can be fixed like that. Let's just get a committee together. I'm not saying I should be on it, but I mean, if I would be honored to serve. Not saying I should be, but I would be honored. I feel like a lot of things on this show, Brenden, I think College Football Hall of Famer, yeah, you got to have statistics and you got to have accomplishments. And I think like there's one thing where it's like you can't be eligible as a player if you were not a first-team All-American. I think that's what has kept – I think Pat White's not a Hall of Famer because – he was not a first-team All-American quarterback. Well, Tim Tebow was. Tim Tebow was a consensus All-American. Doesn't mean there can't be other quarterbacks in college football. There's 60 Power 5 schools. There's a top 25. There's a top 10. You know what I mean? Like, to sit there and say, well, you're never a first-team All-American. It's like, what happens if you were maybe the third best quarterback in all of college football in one particular year? That's still pretty special. That's still Hall of Fame worthy. Could you imagine if just nobody playing in like the Michael Jordan era was like, wow, you know, didn't get to the final? Like, yeah, because he played against Michael Jordan. They were still very good players. Patrick Ewing never got to the final. I think he got to the finals one year. Yeah, Patrick Ewing's still a Hall of Famer. He just had to play in the same division as Michael Jordan his entire career. So we need a committee. And just like I said, go with your gut. If you hear a name and you can instantly think back to like, and not your team, right? I would recuse myself for all Oregon players. I would recuse myself. I would say, all right, I'm going to take myself out because I can't, like, Nada, Haloti Nada, yeah, he's in. Kenyon Barner, sure. I might even get a little too deep into it. I might be putting in guys that maybe don't deserve it. But so I'd recuse myself from Oregon players. But I feel like it should just be, you know, like Chuck Norris in dodgeball, thumbs up, thumbs down. You hear a name, you instantly think of that person in college. You're like, that person's in. And when I hear Pat White, I'm like, yeah, him and Steve Slayton, both of them. Put them in. Howard Schnellenberger, yeah, that guy's in. Mike Leach, guy should be in. But apparently as a coach, you're not eligible unless you have a 60% winning percentage. We learned about the timeline eligibility. I did not realize, and again, until I dug deeper into this, yeah, to make the College Football Hall of Fame, as a player, you have to be, I think, at least a first-team All-American, and as a coach, a 60% winning percentage. And it's like, you're telling me Mike Leach isn't a Hall of Famer? Mike Leach, Rich Rodriguez, Urban Meyer, Chip Kelly, those four guys have done more to shape offensive football in the last 20 years of college football than anybody else. Every offense that is being run right now in college football has some version of the air raid, has some version of the blur, has some version of the spread option. Not exact carbon copy, but there's something there. Does anybody huddle anymore? Yeah, that's Chip Kelly. Air raid, spread everybody out, crossing patterns. Everybody runs some version of that. Bo Nix made a career on crossing patterns. That's Mike Leach. Ever seen a college quarterback take a snap under center? Not very often. That's Rich Rodriguez, and that's Urban Meyer. We didn't get into this either. Brenden, I was thinking about this the other day. We need, more names of offenses. Have we talked about this with nicknames? Remember we talked about nicknames, how they've kind of gone away a little bit? There used to be, it's the wishbone, it's the veer, it's the run and shoot, it's Florida with Steve Spurrier had the fun and gun, it's the pistol. Now it's just spread. We need better names. Just a thought I had. Anyways.
The ones from the old days were definitely a lot better. Like
single wing.
The wishbone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool.
Like I said,
right?
wishbone, veer, run and shoot.
And personally, I got to shout out, again, not so much in college, but maybe at the lower levels, but Justin, in high school, my Sherwood Bowman ran the mighty wing tee, and that was fun to watch in high school. So I can't quite do that at the Power 5 level, of course. But, yeah, good times.
Little Glory Days segment. So we, at the mighty Douglas Trojans, two-time Far West League champions, no big deal, 96, 97. We're not going to talk about the postseason, but two-time Far West League champions.
You win state?
We did not.
Oh, yeah, we had 2 states in 4 years.
Skepoos.
But you played, though, so you get a better credit than I do, being the fan. Oh, yep. Yeah, Skepoos was some guy playing quarterback, right?
Skepoos. And then we played Henley Hornets down by Klamath Falls.
Oh.
They had a guy who I'm actually friends with, Billy Montgomery. Oh, that dude.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
Underrated,
Henley.
greatest, my love of the 541 and how I would ride for the 541. Billy Montgomery at Henley High School, one of the best athletes in the state of Oregon that you've never, ever heard of. He runs a CrossFit gym down in Salem right now.
There you go.
Shout out to Billy Montgomery. He torched us.
That's awesome.
We thought we were so good, and Henley's like, oh boy, we have a tough time stopping Billy Montgomery. So we ran the veer, which is funny because then you watch We Are Marshall.
Yeah.
Actually, a little something like the veer, and I'm like, I'm watching
a little bit,
and I'm like, that's not the veer, but it was.
You had to ruin that movie for me.
It's close enough. I
had to ruin the veer because we got no offensive linemen here at Marshall. What a mess.
But that was the beauty of high school football. You got one team in your conference that had any success. Everybody just ran their offense. Or in my neck of the woods, right? Roseburg was a powerhouse in the 80s and 90s. And so Thurman Bell and the Roseburg Indians, they ran the veer. So guess what? Every other team in Douglas County did. We all ran the veer. Everybody, put your best athlete at quarterback, put your fastest guy at tailback, read the defense. Which is a better...
Roseburg still the Indians?
Yeah. They have a deal with the...
These Scapoose, that's kind of interesting, right? So go figure.
Yeah.
So still the same. Yeah, interesting.
There
Just
is a
mental note.
I could be speaking incorrectly, but I believe there was an agreement made with the local tribe and the school board to be like, we're cool. You can keep the name.
Makes sense.
We're cool.
Which the Florida State Seminoles exist for the same reason.
Yeah, so we're cool. And you're just like, free scholarships?
Yeah,
like
as long as we agree, I'm good with it.
Seminole tribe, we just get to, got it. So I believe it was a handshake. We're cool, right? But then in my football conference, there was an offense run by the Brenden Tigers, whom I hate. Okay, I hate. It was the double wing. The double wing. California coach named Markham came up, instituted this thing called the double wing. Nobody had ever seen it. Nobody could stop it. And again, it was the 90s. It wasn't like you would get tape, but like it wasn't like, and all of a sudden there's this offense, and it was very weird. Quarterback was a lead blocker. It was just a whole thing. And finally, like, I mean, no big deal, Douglas, we figured it out. But that was all. Half the teams in our conference, they're like, we just got beat by 50. Well, I guess we should run this offense then. So they all ran it. I'm sure somebody, maybe it was Sherwood at the beginning, probably started off running the wing tee, and everybody's just like, I mean, it works. There was the fly offense, which is how I knew what the fly sweep was.
Yep.
So believe it or not, so you know the fly sweep, the famous fly sweep from
Willamette, I believe.
the 2007 Civil War game, right? With James Rogers around the edge. Was that overtime?
Yes, that was double over. Yeah, it was. I think it was double overtime.
James Rogers fly sweep. So there's an entire offense. There's an entire offense where there's the sweeper is an actual position, and you run the sweep every single play. But sometimes you give the ball, sometimes you fake it, and that's just the whole offense. So imagine when Oregon State was running the fly sweep, right? And here comes James Rogers, full speed, right down the line of scrimmage, set hut, boom, and turn around and hand it off. They would run that in high school, only sometimes they would fake it and then would run like a counter up front. So there was the fly, there was the single wing, there was the wing tee, there was the double wing.
It was interesting because
wishbone, veer. We need now it's just spread.
And just what works at different levels. Like, again, I can't say I've watched Sherwood super closely the last couple of years, but like that was a thing for us. Like when it was like the wing tee worked great at 5A, but not necessarily as good at 6A when they moved
Face
up.
those big fellas.
Right. Then you had to tweak things a little bit. Then all of a sudden Sherwood wasn't going to a state championship game every year like when I was there. So, that it's kind of interesting because you mentioned too, the smaller schools. Yeah, if you're like 8-man football,
dude,
1A, you're probably running an offense that no one's even heard of, right?
Yeah, there was a guy for Powers High School.
Yeah,
they ran 8-man football. I think his name was Ike Ellis. He was so good. He was so good.
Powers, man. There was the name.
And it was like back then, like if 8-man football, if you had one dude, just one,
you could
direct snap to that dude, and
every time.
They were like nationally ranked 8-man football because I want to say it was Ike Ellis. What was his name? Yeah, that was definitely Ike Ellis. He was so good. Anyways, enough glory days of the 90s in Southern Oregon high school football. Let's get back into real sports. Coming up, we have got Make or Miss. I'm sure the Dan Hurley news is going to be coming up in Make or Miss. But before we get to that, I do want to tell you about, speaking of Southern Oregon, hey, you're going to be in Roseburg this weekend. Maybe you can help out us here at iHeartRadio and the good folks at Toyota because we need your help in filling the truck with canned and non-perishable foods to benefit the Oregon Food Bank. Bring your donations and look for the specially marked Toyota Tundra at 2 different Fred Meyer locations. One's in Roseburg. They ran the Veer there. They're going to be having the truck at the Fred Meyer in Roseburg noon to 2 on Saturday, and then down in Grants Pass. I don't know what Grants Pass used to run. Probably the Veer as well. Sunday, noon to 2. Let's go Cavemen down in Grants Pass. While you're there, enter to win a trip for 2 to the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas. Visit the events page at ripcityradio.com for a complete list of dates and locations, and join us at Fred Meyer as we fill the truck for the Oregon Food Bank. All right. It's time for a very special Make or Miss. Why? Because, well, it's a different time spot. Right? They used to do that with TV shows back in the day, like, a special 8 o'clock version of whatever show. And it was like, I don't know. It's just somebody's probably in contract disputes. That's what they used to do too. It's like, a special episode, and it's like, that's because 3 of the cast members are holding out for a better contract, and you just had to record one. It's like, so this is not that case though. Brenden is not holding out for a better contract. We shuffled some things around because we had Josh Pate on the show in hour number 2. It was fantastic. You should take a look back, whether you do that on YouTube or you want to go back on the podcast later today. But right now, if you're listening live, it is time for Make or Miss. Here we go.
Real quick, Justin, before we open up Make or Miss, I didn't realize, and I'll say this, but I'm being completely joking here. I didn't realize holding out for a better contract was an option for me.
I mean,
is that really an option?
I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
I think they call that quitting.
Yeah, right? So, what's the difference between, should I just be like,
I'm like, hey.
Final year of my deal.
Brenden, you haven't been at work for a week and a half. Yeah, I'm holding out. Holding out, I think they call that quitting.
And not even quiet quitting either. That's just real quick.
Oh, did you see there's a thing now that the kids are doing? It's called quiet vacationing.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
Now, I can't do it. You can't do it because, well, we have to be here where the microphones are. But I bet I've heard in the corporate world, it's a thing called quiet vacationing because still a lot of people working from home, right? And so they just go on vacation and bring their laptops and don't put in for their time off and just work while they're on vacation. And it's called quiet vacationing.
I've done that before. My other job, enables me to be remote. Not this last time, but like when I went to Mexico, there was a day I had to write.
But in your other job running beaversedge.com,
yes.
You don't really, do you have a boss? You have like...
Yes and no.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of your thing.
It's
so you would have to have a stern talk with yourself.
Exactly. It's so being an independent contractor.
All right,
very
Brenden,
unique.
we gotta have a stern talk. I feel you were sending too many emails from Hawaii.
There's like there was like a level of like if you do enough things, you're gonna get a call from the head honchos, but you got to do an awful lot of things to grab.
So I saw that like quiet
That's
vacationing.
I'll have to, yeah.
I do have, and I will not name any names. I don't think it matters, but I do have like I go to the gym in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And no big deal. I work out. But the gym I go to, it's classes, right? It's not like going to like 24-hour fitness and like getting some workout. You show up at specific time. That is an hour-long class. It is it's community fitness, right? It's group workout. And so I go in the afternoon because I have the morning show. And, a lot of people work from home, and I have seen like their phones are like right near them because they are clearly with their phone muted and their camera turned off, but they are on Teams or Zoom. Like they're right in the middle of the meeting.
Yeah.
Getting a good workout in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to, like I said, I'll have to keep an eye out for that and see if I see any of that in my comings and goings.
Quiet vacationing is what they call it.
Yeah, well, Gen Z's changing everything. Not
really
necessarily in a good way.
It's not in a bad way. It's just different. Everybody just looks at things different. Anyways, I don't look at Make or Miss different. I take it serious. We're not quiet Make or Missing right now.
Yeah, no. Firing up Make or Miss today. Like Justin Bieber, Kyrie is asking Boston if it's too late to say sorry.
I'm just going to let that marinate for a little bit. That was good.
I was proud of that. That wasn't half bad either. My impressions are usually pretty terrible. I'll live with that one.
I mean, I want to be positive and I want to look for the best in people. And I'm hoping that that's kind of what Kyrie has gone through over his basketball journey to where there's certain fans that are just never going to get over it. They're going to be like, nope. And I think I know why. More on that in a moment. But I'm going to take him at his word that, like, yeah, I wasn't my best. Isn't that what his quote was? I wasn't my best self there. I wasn't at my best. And I think once you get older, and what's nuts is, how old's Kyrie? Like 31? So like,
31, 32.
we act like he's some wise old 65-year-old going, oh, well. But in a basketball world, he kind of is. He's been playing professional basketball since he was 19 years old. He has been high-level basketball, I would assume, since middle school, and probably at a point now where he's doing a lot of more looking back than looking forward. He realized there's far more basketball in his past than there's going to be in his future, and good for him. I hope. Looking back, going like, yeah, probably could have handled that better. Probably could have handled that better.
So can I be a little, not of Kyrie, but a little critical of this? And I will say this, Justin, you can tell me if I'm wrong,
okay.
If you think I'm wrong.
I will.
But just from what I've been able to observe myself, I'm not saying it's true, but as you recall, part of the reason Kyrie did not appreciate Boston was the fans. And I will just say, being safely on this coast, Boston fans have some stereotypes and tendencies.
Yeah, and I want, like...
Now, I'm not saying any more than that, but that's an issue that if I was Kyrie and maybe something did happen, I don't...
I always wonder, and I don't want to... I've heard the same things. Now, I've been to Boston. It was a fine town. Never lived there. I've been there. I wonder if that's one of those things where it's like, okay, very different context, but Brenden, I've been to a Raiders game. I've been in Oakland, and I've been to a Raiders game in Oakland. Now, your entire life, you were brought up to think that Raiders fans, they might as well be having a motorcycle rally in the end zone, right? The black hole, and the Raiders fans are the worst, and they'll fight you, and they'll kick you, and you might get stabbed. And then I went to a game, and I was like, no, it's a football game. It's a football game. It's legendary stuff, and so I wonder if there's maybe some of that with the reputation that Boston fans have that's just like been perpetuated over and over again. But here's why I think the real animosity between Kyrie and the fans is, Brenden, Boston's never been dumped. They've never been dumped. What player who was good for the Boston Celtics said, thanks, but no thanks, I'm leaving. I'm breaking up with you. That doesn't happen to the Celtics. It doesn't happen to the Lakers, right? It doesn't happen to those teams, right? Larry Bird never broke up with the Lakers or with the Celtics, right? Even when Paul Pierce left, it was in the twilight of his career. He had already won a championship. The Boston Celtics, for the first time, when Kyrie said, I am looking forward to re-signing with the Celtics, summer comes, going, I'm leaving. For the first time, I believe the Boston Celtics got dumped. And I don't think they handled it all that well. Because they're not used to being dumped. They're one of those teams you don't leave. If you are having success in Boston or New York or L.A., you don't leave. They dump you. You don't dump them. Kyrie dumped them. And I don't think they're used to that.
Yeah, that's interesting because I never really thought of it that way. And, you
That's why we
have some great takes there because the more you can think about it, like,
who dumps Boston? Who dumps the Celtics?
It's
Nobody.
Like Boston is tricky because, again, I don't mean to be disrespectful to their run with Paul Pierce and KG and all them. Boston, up until recently, has been almost irrelevant with the exception of 2 years with Doc since Bird and then won a championship in 86.
I also think Ray Allen kind of dumped him, too, and they still hate him. I think they still hate him, too.
Yeah. So who's dumped the Lakers, then?
I don't think anybody has.
Shaq? Or did they get him out?
Shaq got broken up with.
Okay.
I think Shaq would have stayed, but it came down to like Kobe and Shaq. Nobody's dumped the Lakers. Nobody of the level of Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, of consequence.
Of, all NBA, right? Nobody has dumped the Lakers. The Lakers and the Celtics are two teams where they don't get broken up with.
Yeah, that's fascinating because, like, I can't, like, at least we...
And Kyrie did.
At least we came up with an example for Boston. You're telling me there's no examples we can come up with?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. Sure, like, players have left,
right? But like, I mean, I guess the closest
all NBA caliber players.
Okay, so the closest we could get to this, and it's not the same because they made the radical moves, but the closest we can get is when Magic Johnson came out and said, I'm not playing for Paul Westhead, trade me, or when Kobe said, I'm not playing for your organization anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the closest they've ever been. Now, granted, as
Justin...
Justin...
And by the way, those two things never happened either.
Right, and as Justin told me, though, everything's a bigger deal in L.A. You said Kobe was on the phone with SportsCenter saying, I want out.
He was. He was on his flip phone.
Yeah.
I think he was in the grocery store parking lot.
So there you go.
He called into SportsCenter live on TV and said, yeah, I'm requesting a trade.
So that's
and
the closest
guess what happened? He didn't get traded.
Yep, that's the closest we could get because you're right. That's incredible.
So because I think Boston and New York are two places that just those fan bases, and I think especially in Boston, as the Celtics, they don't get the Yankees have stolen Red Sox. Do you know what I mean?
Yankees might make a play for.
Didn't Jacoby Ellsbury go Red Sox?
He went. Yeah. Red Sox and the Yankees gave him a fat contract.
Yeah. So the Yankees stole Jacoby Ellsbury. The Yankees stole Johnny Damon. Right. The Yankees stole.
Watch out, Baltimore and Adley Rutschman.
The Yankees stole Wade Boggs. Right. So Boston is used to the Yankees stealing Red Sox. NFL is the NFL, and the Patriots stunk for a long, long time before Tom Brady. But the Celtics, if you were good in Boston as a Celtic, you don't leave.
Yeah. And Kyrie did.
And he dumped them, and I don't think they handled it well. And he didn't handle it well because when he did dump them, he came back and stepped on their mascot and flipped them off.
Right. No, and that was bad. And I remember there were some really bad things that were said and all that to say. It's just the connections between this series are fascinating because of the whole Kyrie aspect. That seems like a long time ago. It really wasn't. And then ho-hum. This was finally written about yesterday, Justin, and I could not believe it. An extension on this make or miss. Why is no one talking about the fact that Kristaps and Luka literally had the worst? Like, I saw Kristaps go, oh, yeah, there was some talk about it being bad in the locker room. That didn't happen. And I'm like, baloney. We all remembered Luka and Kristaps hated each other. Yeah. Absolutely hated each other. It got Rick Carlisle fired.
And it was no surprise that Porzingis got shipped out for pennies on the dollar, and the Mavericks and Luka got better when that happened. I think the reason it hasn't been talked about all that much is because Porzingis has been hurt.
That too.
He's been hurt for a good chunk of the postseason. No, he hasn't played in the last 2 series, right?
12 games he's been out.
Yeah, so it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Right, that's almost 3 series, yeah.
So if he does play, I'm sure there's something there. Also, it's like a European fight. Like, it's not the same as a good old American fight.
Are we learning that with Caitlin Clark, too? It's not a middle American
We almost made it through the show.
Almost.
Brenden, it's 8:33.
I apologize.
We
I could not help
made it to the end of the show without talking about Caitlin Clark.
I couldn't help myself. Like, that's all anyone talks about. You would think the college baseball postseason's done. You would think NBA finals are done, Justin. Like, thankfully, Dan Hurley's given us something else to have on the main screen here.
Did you see, like, some blogger found, like, where the Chicago Sky's team hotel was and did what any normal, like, NBA guy has to deal with every single day and was, like, holding up his phone to, I think Kennedy Carter's her name.
Yeah.
It was like, have you reached out to Caitlin? And, like, headlines, Chicago Sky harassed. It's like, no. You say you want
to be like the NBA.
You say you want eyeballs, right? You say you want attention. Pay attention to us. Pay attention to us. Fly us on private jets. Pay us more money. You don't then get to, like, one guy with the self. It's like I said earlier with Caitlin Clark. It's like, Caitlin Clark mobbed at the Dallas airport. Why aren't they flying private? It's like, there's 4 dudes with camera phones, right?
Clearly, all
the third lead on the new Kevin Costner movie is dealing with that outside of a bar in L.A., right? It's 4 dudes with a cell phone.
Oh, yeah, speaking of which,
what do you think? Like, again, did you think this attention just comes with all the fun stuff and you don't have to deal with all the annoying stuff?
Right. It comes with the territory. And to your point, Justin.
Harassed the Chicago Sky. It's like,
yeah, to your point, maybe we'll bring it up in Make or Miss, but reviews that Kevin Costner movie.
Not good?
Not
good.
It's
a 3-part epic.
Not good. And the first part's not getting good reviews. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But back to Make or Miss specifically and closing this out. Just find it incredibly fascinating that, Kyrie's trying to walk it back now. And, like you
said. If it's genuine, great. If it's tactics, if it's strategic, even better. Better. Kill him with kindness. Why rile him up? Why get guys, I wasn't my best self. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. And maybe it's not going to stop all the booze, but it's at least what it's done is put a pause on. We haven't talked about that all that much this week.
Right. No,
you know?
Totally.
And I think that was if he meant it, great.
Right.
If he doesn't, but it's just let's get that out there.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah, and then we'll see, right? They start in Boston. Well, I mean, Boston fans are going to be chirping, man.
Well, of course, but it's the finals, too,
right? It's going to be intense. So I'm curious to see how all that shakes out tonight. But nevertheless, let's see if we can get to one more here on Make or Miss, third hour. Ooh, yeah. Dan Hurley is a legacy move for Genie Bus that Jerry Bus would have loved.
I 100% agree. This is the splashiest. If in fact this is the hire, right? If in fact, and we're just gonna assume that it is. If it's not, oh boy, how fun's that going to be?
That would be something, man.
But if in fact this is the hire, this is the splashiest hire in the NBA in what? 10 years?
Let me look.
Who's the where you would consider a splashy hire? I guess Steve Nash was a splashy hire because he was a two-time former MVP. Didn't work.
Even still, though.
I think we kind of judge it, though, on the outcome. But at the time, it was like the Nets are hiring Steve Nash. That's kind of a
for an
splashy
odd reason.
hire. But to be able to go to college and get the best college coach and to steal them from UConn, this is as splashy of a hire. Billy Donovan?
Can I make?
But even Billy Donovan, because
would you allow a crossover into other sports?
Jim Harbaugh.
I'd say Urban
Meyer. Yeah.
When that happened, everyone was freaking out. Granted, it didn't work, and we all know it didn't work because Urban is Urban. But when that happened, everyone's like,
yeah.
Oh, my gosh, Urban Meyer, dude. Like, he's going to do what Nick Saban couldn't. As it turns out, really hard. Yeah, like, in NBA, like, it was kind of a big deal when the Houston Rockets said, yeah, we don't care about your past transgressions, Ime Udoka.
Yeah, but...
And he just was coming off a finals appearance.
But he was out of a job. I think first off, let's figure out what makes a hire splashy. I think stealing him away from an already many would consider an elite job, which is two-time national champion in college basketball, that's splashy. Do you know what I mean? Like, sure, Steve Nash, sure, Chauncey Billups, right? But those guys hadn't coached before. This guy already had a job. And they stole him. I mean, this is probably the splashiest hire since the Celtics hired Rick Pitino.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a minute because you're thinking
it just doesn't, like Billy Donovan. Remember, Billy Donovan won the national championship with Florida, won back-to-back, took the job with the Orlando Magic, and then had a midnight change of heart, and then went back to Florida. And then a couple years later, went to Oklahoma City. But it was less splashy at the time.
I don't think there really have been because you look at it like
if this is the splashiest hire since Rick Pitino going to the Boston Celtics.
Let me ask you
after
this.
winning the championship at Kentucky.
Probably. Here's another one I got coming up, even though we're looking at him differently.
Or Jim Calipari leaving UMass after a Final Four appearance with Marcus Camby going to the New Jersey Nets.
I'll throw this out there because if memory serves, it was kind of a big deal when he got hired because he went right from player to coach. Jason Kidd.
Yeah, that was a splashy hire.
And now you look, granted, didn't work out in Brooklyn, didn't work out in
probably
Milwaukee.
Since the Jason Kidd hire, this is a big deal, though. And you're right, it would be
Jason Kidd or Steve Nash splashier? That's a good question now, isn't it?
It's hard because you can't. It's so impossible to look at it but not see how the outcome happened.
Because Jason Kidd doesn't have an MVP. Steve Nash has two.
He's got two.
Right?
All
So
right.
that's interesting.
We've got a mailbag coming up. Before we do, want to let you know about Ticket Tuesday. That's right. It might be Thursday, but Tuesday is not too far away on Rip City Radio. Keeping the winning streak alive with exclusive tickets to Hillsborough Hops all season long. Listen to Rip City Drive every Tuesday afternoon for your chance to win, or just head to hillsboroughhops.com and get your tickets today. RCM mailbag next, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, it is time to wrap up the big show. We do that the same way each and every day with the RCM mailbag. You know it. You love it. Random questions, any subject, any topic. We have an awful lot of fun. Let's fire it up. Here we go.
All right, Justin. So I teased this during Make or Miss. We're going to get into it now.
Okay.
I will make sure to set the stage for everybody and give you some context, and then I want your thoughts on it so far. So recently, as Justin alluded to, one of our favorite shows is set to finish this fall in Yellowstone.
Yeah, it's
And
never going to finish.
some interesting news came up this weekend. So apparently, Kevin Costner is begging to return to Yellowstone following Horizon's negative reception.
Interesting.
So
So Horizon is the movie that Kevin Costner was making, and according to him, he said he couldn't do Yellowstone because there were too many delays, and so it was delaying his movie, and there were contracts and people waiting, so he quit Yellowstone, and then it was a whole mess. And then that movie apparently kind of stinks now. You know it stinks because he is out there trying everything and anything to plug it. All right, so
this insight, real quick.
I'm ready for Yellowstone to end. I am. I loved it when it was what it was. It was a moment in time. We needed it. We needed it in 2020, in 2021. I'm ready for it to end. I'm seriously getting the fact that we talk more about these two guys, the creator Taylor Sheridan and Kevin Costner, just fighting with each other. Let's just end
It's
it.
a war of egos, man.
I ripped the band. I'm sad as it is to say, Brenden, I'm over it. I'm over it. I loved Yellowstone. It was great. It's over to me. It's over. There's nothing they're going to be able to do in this final season that I'm going to be like, ooh. I mean, I'll watch it. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not going to be like, oh, that wrapped it all up.
Yeah, so some interesting quotes from an unnamed insider, but nevertheless, an insider reveals that Kevin didn't make any friends amongst his Yellowstone co-stars, revealed the insider. He left the entire future of the show in question by delaying the production, then left the show altogether to work on Horizon. They didn't know whether they'd even have jobs during all of that. It's hard to imagine them welcoming him back with open arms. So I wonder if
well, the fourth wall has been broken so much in this, right? To where, okay, what are they going to do? They kill off John Dutton, right? Let's just say they do. We're all going to be like, all right, we know why. It's not going to be a shock. It's not going to be a surprise. We already know too much about, this is the problem with the internet. We know too much about the production. We know too much about this. When I was growing up and I was watching Dukes of Hazzard and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Coy and Vance showed up instead of Bo and Luke, you were like, what is going on? Come to find out, yeah, that was contract negotiations, and Bo and Luke quit the show, and then they had to bring in these two doofuses named Coy and Vance, and it didn't work, and people hated it, and so guess what? Bo and Luke came back, but we didn't know that. You know, when Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just had a new Aunt Viv, we didn't know that Will Smith pushed out original Aunt Viv and was like, off of my show. Like, we didn't know any of that. It was just like, well,
just this
what's
whole
going
thing
on with Aunt Viv?
It just goes back to like Justin says forever with college football. Why did we need to fix it? And that's kind of the situation here is it's like Kevin Costner was making well over $1 million per episode. Taylor Sheridan was doing his thing. And it's one of those sad situations where it's like great television. And I put it up. Seasons 1 through 3, I put up as some of the best television made.
Then it got weird.
Then you could tell COVID had an impact. Kevin bouncing in and out to do his movie schedule had an impact. Taylor Sheridan making 9 other shows had an impact.
But it's like everything else. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, if they would have both just realized that they were better together, they could have went on a 15-year. Well, I mean, they did go on like a 20-year run, but they could have went and they could have went on a. We watched that Patriots Dynasty documentary, right? If those two would have just realized you're better together than you are apart and quit fighting with each other, but no, they're alphas. Kevin Costner, at one point was the biggest star in the world. Taylor Sheridan's got nobody has more juice. He writes stuff, it gets greenlit like that. And if they would have both just realized they were better together, the problem is, like anything else, one person has to be like, nope, it's because of me. And
in your opinion,
that's
who
what
looks
happens here.
worse in all this? Who just
Costner.
of the two? I think
Costner looks
Costner looks worse.
Yep.
I would think so too, but
By a
nevertheless,
smidge, but I think Costner looks a little bit worse.
yeah. Like, will I go watch probably the first? Just like
Because you know that I still think, and I don't know because I'm not a Hollywood guy. Okay, I still think, especially these old school guys like Kevin Costner,
sure.
there is still I'm not a TV actor. I am a movie star.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, not anymore.
You're right.
You're not a movie star anymore. You're really good on TV. Keep doing it.
You might be onto something there.
So I think that's
that could be it. But no, nevertheless, like part 1 of his movie and part 3 come out, or part 1 and part 2 come out in June and August this summer. Will I pay to go see it? I don't know. If
I won't go. When it comes to whatever streaming service
Max.
it comes to, I will watch.
Max.
Well, then I'll watch it on Max.
Warner Brothers. So I did see that.
I'll watch it
I'm
there.
like, okay, they'll put it on Max, thankfully.
It has to be such a great. It's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to be so dazzled by any movie to get me to leave my couch to go to a movie theater and pay. What is it? $23 now or?
No, that's popcorn. Like, even still, like, a ticket's like 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not
All
bad.
right.
It's you're gonna spend $20 on the drink and popcorn.
But that I don't care about.
Okay.
I go to.
Yeah. No, like last time I went,
I go to Vegas and buy $27 margaritas. Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Because my wife is very successful, not because of me. I'm not paying the bill.
I
Right,
would've-
that bar tab's not on my credit card. All right.
Yeah,
But-
any chance your wife wants to pick up some Red Bull vodkas in Vegas too?
No.
Oh, gotcha.
Nope,
Okay.
nope,
Those are pretty expensive too.
Mimosas to margaritas is the plan, Brenden. That is the way we do things
But yeah,
in the
I'm trying
Myers
to think.
household.
The last movie I went to see in the theaters. Oh goodness.
I know mine. It's easy. It was Top Gun Maverick. You had Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer. That had to have been it.
Still
And
haven't-
yeah, it
still
was
haven't
probably
seen it.
like, well, eventually you will, and you will. I don't even hold any negativity towards you. Like for Avatar,
It's so long.
I hold some negative. Oppenheimer, when you watch it, you will love it. So I don't hold anything
All right.
towards you there at all. But yes,
One day I'll watch it and I'll be like, man, how come nobody talked about this? Like everybody was talking about it,
a
dude.
lot of Oscars.
Yeah, Top Gun Maverick. Like you come up with another like 80s nostalgia action movie, I'll go to the theater for that. I'm trying to
Fair.
think. Well, that might be a topic for tomorrow's show. Hopefully you will join us tomorrow. We've got Mike Parker is going to be joining us live from Super Regionals in Kentucky. So Mike Parker is going to be joining the show tomorrow. It's a Fancy Coffee Friday. It's a Feel Good Friday. We look forward to talking to all of you bright and early. Big thanks to Josh Pate for joining us earlier today. Thanks to super producer Brenden. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow on 620 Rip City Radio.